Hi everyone, and welcome to our live Facebook Q&A with our DIFC student ambassadors. I'd like to welcome Angela, Anis and Joseph for joining us today. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
So what we'll be doing today is we are going to have a live Q&A. So anyone has any questions, you can pop them into the comments below and we'll keep an eye on them and I'll ask the questions to the students. We have had a couple of questions submitted beforehand, so we might start with those first, and as people then comment, you can answer below. So what we might do is start by, if each of you want to just go through and introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, you know, what education you've done so far and what you're studying at the moment. Angela, do you want to start?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Angela and I'm an Indian. I have lived in Saudi Arabia for most of my life, and I completed my grade 10 in the CBSE syllabus. Then I changed and completed my A-levels in the CIE syllabus. I am now studying BSc Physiotherapy in the University of Limerick.
Okay, that's great. Anis?
Hello, my name is Anas Bara. I'm Syrian. I've lived most of my life in United Arab Emirates. I have an American degree. Then I decided to apply to DIFC because I didn't get the requirements to study medicine. So then I went to DIFC and I studied there for a year, and now I'm a medical student at University of Central Lancashire, that's located in UK, Manchester.
Great, and you've just finished your first year.
Hi, I'm Joseph, and I'm from Malaysia. So something about my education background, I was graduated from a Chinese secondary school in Malaysia. So obviously I'm a native Chinese speaker. And now currently studying in University of Manchester, and my course is economic.
Very good. Okay, so what we might start by having a chat about is life in Dublin. So you all studied in our Dublin centre. So can we start by talking about where did you live? What kind of accommodation did you live in? Anas, do you want to start?
Yes. So when I moved to Dublin first, I've lived with a family. So basically, they welcome you to the house and they give you your own room, and the family can cook for you and everything. So at the first month I lived there, I was really happy, but I wanted to be more independent on myself. So then I moved to a place called Unionist, which is a student accommodation, which is located almost like 5 minutes away from the IFC only. And there they provide you with your own room, but there's a shared kitchen, and also it's around like 240 euros a week as well. And there is a gym and there is good facilities, and yeah, that's it. That's where I lived there.
Okay.
For the rest of the foundation.
Very good. And Angela, where did you live?
I actually lived a little bit far away from the IFC. I I stayed with my aunt in Dublin. Yeah, so it was good.
And what was it like? Were you catching buses to campus or?
Yeah, I actually used to catch 2 buses to campus, but it was pretty frequent, so it was really good. It was very accessible and stuff like that. It's nice.
Great. And Joseph, where did you live?
Oh, my story will be a little bit alike to Anas. And at the very first in Dublin, I live in a house. Like they will cook for you and they will clean your room for you. And after that, like after a half year, something like that, and I move up and I start sharing a house with 2 Irish guys. It's around Dublin 7. It's like 15 to 20 minutes distance to the IFC by walking. And I think it's more independent and like it's more free when you're staying outside. It's not like staying under a house. So that's where I live.
Oh, very good. Yeah, we can arrange the homestays for you when you first arrive, or we can help you source student accommodation in terms of uni nests like Anas did. But there also is a private rental market, but it's best to book a homestay for when you first get there, and that will allow you time and somewhere to live while you're looking for private rented accommodation or share accommodation with other students. Okay, so we'll move on. And what did you get up to outside of class? So what kind of things did you do in your spare time? Sorry, we might start with Joseph.
All right. During my free time, I think it's mostly I'll hang out with friends, like doing some shopping or like cycling in Phoenix Park. If I'm not mistaken, Phoenix Park is the largest park in Euro, right?
Yep.
And of course, sometime we will have some beer at Friday night, of course.
And Angela?
I also used to hang out mostly with my friends and family. So we'd either go for walks or shopping together, either in the city center, or we used to live near Blanchardstown shopping center. So we used to go there once in a while. And I also started taking ukulele lessons during my free time. So I picked up a new hobby during my time in Dublin.
And are you still getting the lessons?
I'm doing it mostly on YouTube, so that's how I actually started.
Very good. And Anas, what did you get up to in your spare time?
So most of the time I would go and have lunch with friends at different restaurants, try as many restaurants as I can, and they're very delicious, honestly, in Dublin. Also, I love to play sports, so every single weekend, me and my friends, we used to organize a football like tournament. There was a beach next to us that we could play football in it. And I used to go to the gym a lot on daily basis, 1 hour, which is like 10 minutes away from the IFC only. It's a very big gym, yeah.
Very
That's
good.
what I did.
And did you have much spare time outside of your studies, Anas?
Yes, actually, I believe if you organize your time, you would have a lot of spare time. Although, like, I was studying the Science Foundation program, which is one of the most challenging foundation programs. But yeah, I did have a lot of spare time because I managed to organize my time. I know when to study and I know when to take a rest. So yeah, actually, I had a good amount of spare time.
Very good. And Joseph, you studied the Business Foundation program. How was your spare time? Did you have much, or were you studying a lot?
I think it's quite a lot of spare time. As I took IFY business, and it's not a very packed course. So, beside like studying Monday to Friday, I think in a weekend is all my spare time.
Okay, that's good. All right, well, we might move on to the actual foundation program itself. One of the questions that was submitted is about the academic content and how hard it was. So did you find, and we'll start with you, Angela, did you find the academic content hard on the foundation program compared to what you've done at your high school?
No, actually, it was pretty straightforward. And a lot of the things that I found difficult in high school, at Dr. Lorraine or Mr. Collum, or even Mr. Stephen, all of them made it really simple and straightforward when, you used to go and ask them questions and stuff. And we also had these things called tutorials and things like that, where we went over difficult topics or difficult past paper questions and stuff like that. So I felt it pretty straightforward and easy. The only thing was that you had to keep up with it. So if you let it build up, it would get a little bit daunting, but otherwise it was really good.
Very good. And Joseph, how about you? Did you find it challenging?
I think it's okay with me. I was a science student in secondary school, but I decided to change it to business in my foundation and my uni. So for me, as a zero foundations student about business, I still can understand what the teacher is talking about, and I get up on this business quite easy. But one thing you have to take note is you have to follow your teacher step by step. So don't miss any classes. That'll be all right.
Okay. And Anas, how about you?
Honestly, I came from, as I said, an American degree, and I didn't get enough grades. So I actually didn't study that much in high school. So when I went to the IFC, I didn't like, the content was challenging, not hard, but with the support of my teachers, they were straightforward. They helped a lot. So it's actually, they're the one who made it easier for me. The way they explained it, the way they delivered the idea towards me made it way easier. So yeah.
Okay. And we have a question about the Medicine Foundation program, which is what you studied. How many exams were there on the Medicine Foundation program?
Okay, so basically, it's like at the end of the year, you have 4 exams actually: English and biology, chemistry, and math. And each exam, the English, sorry, the biology and the math and the chemistry are worth 70% at the. So basically, this is the only exam you have for this 3 science courses, and yeah, basically you have 3, and they are at the end of the year, and it's all the materials that you studied. So as Angela has mentioned before, if you actually if you don't build them up and they don't accumulate, you will find it so much easier to study. But if you build them up and you ignored it for the whole year and you just tried to study a month before the exam or 3 weeks before the exam, it would be really hard and difficult. So yeah.
Okay. And did you have sort of practice exams throughout the year and that sort of thing?
Yes, actually, like all the teachers made sure we know how the exam's gonna come and in what and how the question's gonna come. They gave us so many practice exams. They gave us so many questions. They actually gave us homeworks, and all the homeworks were like built on the exams, like the questions that come from the previous exams, which was really helpful.
Well, that's good. And none of you actually studied IGCSEs, but we have a question about how different is the content to IGCSEs. But maybe just we talk about it from in terms of your high school topics and that you covered. How different was the content and the topics that you covered in the subject modules with DIFC? Angela, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, I didn't do my IGCSEs, but my sister did. And I think the foundation content is more closer to the A levels rather than the IGCSEs. It's not very similar to the IG, like it's a step higher.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it gives you a good foundation for your university, but it's more than IGCSEs. Like if you did your IGCSEs, you'll have a good foundation for the foundation course,
yeah, but
it will not be the same content.
Okay, so it's the next step up.
Yeah, it's the step up.
Yeah, and NARIC, the UK NARIC have actually assessed it as the similar standard to A levels, so that would make sense. Yeah. And how long are the classes, Joseph?
The classes like it depends on like how packed of your days. Like it's like 9 to 3 something.
Yeah.
But not is it not every it doesn't like every day 9 to 3. But sometimes you have like a spare time during in the afternoon, like a 2-hour break or something like that. It's not really packed, and I think it's easier than a secondary school courses. Like we don't have to spend that much of time in the classroom, so we have more time like doing other things like maybe going to the library or hitting the gym, something like that.
Yep. Okay, yeah, so you would have gaps throughout your timetable in the day as well. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to how DIFC kind of supported you through the program. So I might put, if we talk to Angela, how did the student services help you, and like what did the student services kind of do during the foundation program?
Well, I had a lot of questions about the GNIB appointment, visas, immigration, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so Sylvia was always there to answer those questions. And when it came to living in Dublin and things like that, usually Emer used to take care of all that. She'd explain, the best places to go, things to do, and stuff like that. And Tiago was always there to talk about applications and options for your future. Like I wanted only physiotherapy in Ireland, and he told me what options were available to me and things like that. So, and they were always willing for a chat. I used to reach college pretty early in the morning, so instead of going to my class and sitting waiting for everyone to join in, sometimes I'd just pop into the student services and talk to them, and they were always ready to chat or share a snack or things like that. It was really nice.
Great. And Anas, did you have much interactions with student services?
Yes, of course I did. So I was a minor there. I was 17 years old when I went to Ireland. So Mrs. Sylvia actually was my guardian, and she was like the best guardian I could ever ask for, honestly. She helped me a lot to settle my visa in the Ireland, and she helped since I applied to the UCLan and we have to travel to UCLan to do the MMIs. She helped me a lot, like for the visa for the UCLan as well. And Mr. Tiago as well. I can't forget his help. He helped me a lot through the application. They made sure that we practiced for the MMI. So he actually managed to organize an MMI practice in the DIFC that was very, very helpful towards my MMI. And Dr. Lorraine, Mr. Colum, Mrs. John, the academic support was it was very good from them. Yeah.
Very good. And Joseph, how about you?
I'm sorry, because of the connection problem, I missed the question. Can you repeat again?
I was just talking about student services and how they helped you.
All right. In terms of student services, I think the best support that the DIFC gave for me is I remember that it's like a personal face-to-face meeting with your tutor. So for me, the first time in Ireland, English is my biggest challenge. So I do talk a lot to my tutor, John, and I really like to thank John sharing a lot of her experience, getting new friends and talk to someone else to improve my English. So I do think that that personal meeting really helped me.
Great. Yeah. So we've covered a bit of the academic support there as well. So we might delve a little bit more into the placement, the university application process in applying for your universities. The first question that we had actually is, how did you find the process of applying to university, and what did that involve? So Angela, we might start with you.
Yeah, so I really just wanted to go to one university, but Tiago insisted that, I have a backup option and things like that. And he helped me through the process, the application process, and he spoke to me about what they would expect in my personal statement, from everything, to filling out the forms, to the options available, to even the student. We had a college fair where we met up with different colleges and universities from the UK and Ireland and things like that, and he pointed me in the direction of the colleges and universities to talk to, and they were there throughout the process. I didn't find it difficult at all, and I didn't find it in any way challenging or a headache to be due, because even though most of the applications in Ireland are paper based, it was all taken care of by I just had to fill out the forms and write the personal statement. Everything else was taken care of by the staff.
And did you get help with your personal statement?
Yeah, Tiago went over it, and so did my tutor, because we talked about what they would be expecting in my personal statement, the things to correct and, modify, so that, you show yourself to be a really, you would be an asset to the university that you're going to, and they told me to, for every option that I applied for, to kind of personalize it to that university rather than, make one size fits all kind of a personal statement.
Okay, very good. And how about yourself, Joseph? How did you find the whole process of applying to university?
I felt like the whole process is pretty simple, and Tiago really helped a lot during my process on apply for my university. So at first, actually, I think to stay in Ireland for my university, but at the end, after the I think it's like a pre-test before the final test, and John is my was my tutor, and then Tiago, they give me advice to like get going to a better university in the UK. So I took that advice, and then I do some research on the university that I'm now currently studying, UOM. So during the process, it's like I really didn't do anything. I just pen up everything they need, and then Tiago and my tutor John will set there everything for me. Of course, about the personal statement as well. As my English is not really good at that time, so John really helped me give me a lot of advice and help me to correct a lot of like vocabulary or like a grammar mistake in my personal statement.
Oh, very good. And as your university applications would have been a little bit more involved as though to medical school, how did you find that?
So actually, I'm very similar to Joseph as well. I was insecure about my English, so my English was a challenge to me when I was in Ireland. So from the English side, like my tutor, Mrs. Emer, helped make sure that my personal statement was excellent grammarly, vocabulary wise. So I wasn't really worried about that. They really gave me the support, and they don't just help you; they teach you your mistakes. So they don't really. You don't really make the same mistakes again, because it's different for each university. You have to, as Angela said, to personalize that personal statement to this university, which really improved my English as well. Also, for UCLan specifically, I still remember for a whole month, maybe every single day, I used to go to Mr. Tiago, and he used to read my personal statement for UCLan because it was my first choice. I used to give me feedback, and I go back and again, and he was always willing to help. I was almost every single day at his office. So he was really helpful, and I'm really glad I ended up in UCLan, and I'm sure if it wasn't for their help, I wouldn't be there right now. So yeah.
Oh, very good. Okay, so you mentioned that UCLan was your first choice. So I'm going to ask two questions, and I'll get you to raise your hands. This ties into a question that a student has asked. So did your preferred university change from when you started foundation to when you finished? Hands up. No one? Okay. So did you get your first choice university for your placement?
Yes.
Yeah. Anas? Angela?
Yes.
Yeah. And Joseph?
Yes.
So you all got your first choice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay, so now we might move on to kind of reflecting about the foundation year after you've studied the first year of university, okay? So how do you find, after you've completed the first GR recently, how have you found that the foundation year prepared you for university? So Joseph, we might start with you on this one.
Sure, no problem. After my foundation, I think the most important thing that foundation helped me is about referencing and citation when you're writing an essay. I think that is the most important thing in university. So as for example, some of my friends they spend like 10 credit during the year to learn how to do references and how to do citation and such things. So I did this in my foundation, so I can use that the added 10 credit to learn something that I liked. So I don't have to waste that 10 credit to learn for this English purposes academic. So I really thank you that the IFC had this EAP course. So EAP is mean English academic purpose, is it? If I'm not mistaken. So I think EAP is very supportive for a uni student.
Very good. Angela, you were nodding away there. Do you agree with Joseph? Was it similar for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I saw my classmates struggling with referencing and research because they didn't know the sources to go to, to get their content for, their assignments for. And there were classes that are held in the library for anyone who needed help with referencing and research skills. But that would take time out of your non-timetabled hours. And for us, especially for physiotherapy students, our timetable was pretty packed. Like we didn't have a really great timetable in our first semester. So if I hadn't done foundation, I'd probably have struggled a lot with that because I'm living a little bit far away from campus as well.
Hmm.
With timing and things like that, I would have really struggled. I would not have gotten, much spare time to myself if I did not know referencing and research. There was something else I was thinking of, but I think it was mostly, oh yeah, even our biology course, for the first year of university, I did not have to. I had a module that had to do with physiology, and I think 90% of the course content was already covered in our biology foundation course. So I did barely any study for that. I had to do barely any study for that module. So I got a free module. Like I got so much free time because I did not have to study for one module. So I really enjoyed my first semester because doing foundation beforehand.
Great. And Anas, how about you? How do you found it prepared you for the first year of a medical degree?
So as a medical student, honestly, and especially the biology course helped me a lot through the first semester because the professors there would just like explain for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and they would cover, let's say like one subject that we covered in biology for 2 hours, they would cover it in 30 minutes. So I was really glad that Mr. Column took the time and covered one subject very detailed, and he made sure that every student understood that specific subject. So that really helped me a lot through the year. Like even till now, until the end of the year, we still took some subjects that we took in the foundation, but more detailed, obviously. That so without the foundation, if I didn't have the strong foundation, I don't think I would have actually. It wouldn't be as easy for me to study it for the exams. Also, one thing I was really glad of is the referencing, as Angela said. I actually came from my school and I had zero idea how to reference, how to go to the right sources. So honestly, after the foundation year, I was really impressed how much I improved. My mark on essay was actually, I was surprised. I don't think I would have got that mark, and I was really happy with the mark I got to the essay. Mr. Tiago helped me, Mr. Column helped me a lot with the biology essay, with the chemistry essay. And honestly, now in my first year of medical student, the research that we have done, I was one of the highest marks in the class. So, and I would actually go to the feedback that Mr. Column used to give me on my previous essay, and I used to notice the same mistakes I did. So honestly, it was really helpful. So yeah.
Oh, very good. It's great to hear that, and that is a feedback we get from a lot of students, is the referencing and research skills that you get are just really stand to you throughout your degree.
Okay.
And how have you found the transition from foundation, where it's a closer knit kind of student group, to the larger university environment? Joseph, how did you find that? You're in Manchester, so that's a massive university. How has that transition been?
So for me, like in foundation, it's like 15 people in the class, and now one of my lectures is like 250 people in the class. So it's quite a big transition, and like the most important thing is during your foundation, your tutor will take care of you, but in university, no one will care about you. After the lecturer have teach everything, you have to research on yourself, and then you have to read a lot of books, and you have to you have to motivate yourself to read more, to learn more, and ask more. That is the biggest transaction I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you were nodding there as well, did you find the same thing, that you kind of left your own devices?
Yeah, actually, the UCLan also made sure that some of the classes were a very low number of classes, like 6 to 7 students, which actually I was really familiar back with the DIFC because I was in Tech 2, and I don't think we're above 20 students in the class. I'm not sure though. But like and even in the labs, we used to work as a groups, and that really helped me to know the teamwork, how to work as a group with UCLan as in the labs as well that we've done in the UCLan. So definitely, it wasn't new for me to the UCLan to work for groups, thanks to the IFC. So yeah.
That's great. Angela, how about you? You're at University of Limerick.
Yeah, the physiotherapy batch it's pretty small. I think we have like 33 students or something like that. So I didn't feel it in, the transition to be, like going from a limited amount of students in a class to a huge amount of students in a class. It was more so that, like Anna and Joseph said, you're more left to your own devices. So we have an academic advisor and stuff like that, but they usually don't interfere much, or take as much as an interest in you as your tutors did in DIFC. Like, I feel like DIFC was a really good stepping stone to prepare you for university, because it was not as as I don't know, I'm thinking of how to say it. It was not as as protective as a school.
Yeah.
They let you stretch your wings about a bit. They allowed you to get a little bit more independent. But like, if you had gone from high school to directly to university, it'd be like, you're going out from the shallow end of the pool to a really choppy part of the sea. You're just being dropped there. So there was a good transition, I feel, in terms of independence. Like, they taught, like, they supported us, but they also allowed us to become more independent. So we had to do a lot of the things ourselves. They helped us through everything, but they also gave us feedback and things on how to become better. And so if, with the amount of assignments and things like that, you had nearly consecutive assignments in the IFC, but in university it's mostly overlapping. So you would be doing 1 or 2 assignments from 2 or 3 modules. So it was a good preparation with time management. If I'd gone just from high school to university, I would have struggled with that, because I am a little bit of a perfectionist, and if I was not be able to concentrate only on one thing, I would not have been able to get through my first year of university as easily as I did this time. So I'm really glad I did the foundation course. It prepared me for that.
Great. Just a reminder, if anyone wants to ask any questions, you can pop them in the comments, but we have a couple more questions here. We might get a bit nostalgic now, and I'll ask each of you, what was your fondest memory of your time at DIFC? So Anas, we might start with you first.
There's actually a lot of good memories in the IFC, but if I have to choose one, I'll choose the sports day in the IFC, where all the staff, all the students, all the teacher, we all went to the park and we started playing all kind of sports, football, tug of war, every single kind of sport, even cycling. And we even saw Mr. Column winning the cycling tournament. He was unbeatable by any of the students and by any of the teachers as well. And my team actually won the football tournament, and Dr. Lorraine was on our team. Honestly, it was one of the best days I've had with the IFC.
Oh, very good. The sports day is a favourite. How about you, Joseph?
For me, I would say it's a very special day for me. The day is like my econ student, my econ teacher, not student. My econ teacher brought the whole class to the Google Euro headquarters.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And that's my first time to step into a huge international company like that. And I really like the atmosphere in Google, and I learned a lot of things inside. And I remember that their marketing manager or someone give us a speech and like introduce Google's and welcoming us if we have that chance to work in Google.
Very good. Yeah, we do those field trips occasionally. Very good. And Angela, what was your favourite memory?
My favorite I had a lot of fond memories. I have a lot of fond memories of DIFC, but in all of them, there's a special person. Like I met one of my best friends in DIFC. So the teacher, like we were there to support each other and help each other throughout the course. We had very similar backgrounds. So she, like, things that she was struggling with, I knew what she was going through, and we used to help each other out. And soon, like, if we went to any of the teachers, we'd always be going together. So, or any of the staff, so if they saw one of us, they'd automatically look for the other. They'd be like, oh, where's Arya? So it was really good. Like, we were able to go out, have fun, and like Anas mentioned, like, we enjoyed the sports days so much. It was so much fun seeing all the teachers unwind, all the staff unwind, and just play along with us. I remember the I think the sack race, and everything. It was so much fun. I think I tried out hurling a little bit during the time. I think Mr. Neil was teaching us. Yeah, Mr. Neil was teaching us. It was really fun. I really enjoyed my time at DS. Like, but I think my best thing was, the best part of it was meeting one of my best friends. So.
Yeah, it's funny how you're in the program for such a short time, but so many of our past students make friendships that just have lasted years and years and years. So that's great to hear that worked for you, Angela. Okay, we'll finish up with one question left, and it's actually a piece of advice. So what I'd like to hear from each of you is your one piece of advice for a student who's considering foundation with DIFC. So Anas, we might start with you.
If you're considering the IFC, and if you join the IFC, one piece of advice I would say: keep up with the studies, don't accumulate them. Because I did this for the first semester and I regret it, and I struggled a bit, but then by the end of the semester I had everything covered. So do not accumulate things up, and also have a plan. Make sure what you want to study, put your universities, make sure they're better if they're partners with the IFC. The IFC has so many partners with so many universities across the world. So make sure you put a plan, you stick to it, and keep things up with studies. So,
yeah. And Joseph?
For those one that haven't decided to where to study for their foundation, I will suggest that study in the IFC will make you more independent and more mature. And for those who really decide to study in the IFC, a piece of advice would be don't miss any class. So at the first term, I do miss some class because of sometimes it's I can wake up in the morning and then maybe sick for a few days, and the thing I found out is you will not really get on what the teacher are talking about if you miss a lot of class, and there's much more thing in the book. The teacher will teach more thing compared to the book. So it doesn't mean that if you finish up all the textbook or all the materials that your teacher give you, then you can get a nice grade in your final test. So you still have to stick with your teacher. You have to stick with step by step with your teacher, and then listen to their class. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. And Angela, how about you? What's your piece of advice?
I agree with everything Anas and Joseph said, but for me personally, the piece of I'd like to give this advice that helped me a lot. I was really shy when I first came to Dublin, and one of my friends just told me, you cannot be shy if you want to succeed in college or university. You have to talk. So I found that really useful. I was really shy, so I pushed myself to talk to my classmates. The day I was I pushed my shyness a little bit down. I hid all my feelings, and I was like, hello, I'm Angela, I'm from India. So I was really awkward, I'm pretty sure, at the beginning, but because I started talking, I was able to ask questions. I was not shy I started coming out of my shell a little bit more, is not so shy to ask questions or doubts, or give out answers in class. So, and also I would not have been talking to the locals as much for help if I was as shy as I was before. So, but now I used to go, like, if I was struggling with finding my way around the place, I'd go up to a total stranger and ask them, oh, do you know how to get to this place? So they would, they're really helpful. But if I was the shy person that I was earlier, I would not have done that. So that would be my biggest advice. Like, go talk, get to know the people around you, your classmates, your teachers. They're all really nice, and so are the Irish people. You don't have to be shy. Nothing to be scared about. It will really help you when you go to university. Like, the University of Limerick is huge, and if you're shy and you keep everything to yourself, you'll be lost in a sea of faces, because you wouldn't be able to get your voice out there. So that would be my greatest piece of advice to all of you. Talk and get to know people, because even if you're struggling with something, if you do not talk, you would not be able to get through your college life as a student and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And all three of those pieces of advice are exactly what we would say. So thank you for that. So we might wrap it up there. Thank you very much to Angela, Joseph and Anas for taking the time to talk to us today. I wish you all the very best for the rest of your university studies. Enjoy the break while you have a few months off. And thank you all very much. And it was great talking to you.
It was nice talking to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.